Hello. Settle in comfortably, wrap yourself up warmly, and let the gentle whisper of stories carry you into a deep, peaceful sleep. Our journey begins in a place where the very air can freeze your breath, a land etched eternally by ice. Oymyakon, nestled deep within the vast, desolate Sakha Republic of Russia, this remote village holds the undisputed title of the coldest inhabited place on Earth. It is here, where winter temperatures routinely plummet below -50 degrees Celsius, that we will explore the extraordinary resilience of human life. Imagine waking to a dawn where the rising sun doesn't bring warmth, but merely illuminates the solidified air around you. This is a typical morning in Oymyakon. The average January temperature is a staggering -48.8 degrees Celsius, but recorded lows defy imagination. On February 6, 1933, the meteorological station at Oymyakon documented an astonishing -67.7 degrees Celsius. However, a monument in the village square records an even more extreme, albeit disputed, figure. A bone-chilling -71.2 degrees Celsius, etched into history as the coldest naturally recorded temperature for any permanently inhabited location on Earth. For context, this is colder than the average surface temperature of Mars, which hovers around -62 degrees Celsius. Oymyakon's extreme climate is a result of a phenomenon known as valley inversion. The village lies in a basin approximately 740 meters, 2,430 feet, above sea level, surrounded by higher mountain ranges. During the long, dark winter months, cold, dense air sinks into this depression and becomes trapped, unable to escape. The absence of significant wind often compounds this effect, allowing the air to cool unimpeded, radiating its remaining warmth into the clear night sky. This geographical trap transforms Oymyakon into a frigid cauldron, a natural deep freeze from which escape is arduous and survival demands profound adaptation. This scientific reality underpins every aspect of life in this pole of cold. As the sun merely touches the horizon for a fleeting few hours, the village of Oymyakon begins its day, not with the gentle stir of a typical morning, but with a calculated defiance of the paralyzing cold. Life here is an exercise in meticulous planning and ingrained resilience. The very act of stepping outside demands a strategic approach to clothing, a multi-layered defense against the immediate threat of frostbite. Locals typically wear furs, wool, and multiple thermal layers, often weighing several kilograms, simply to conduct daily tasks. The infrastructure of Oymyakon is surprisingly rudimentary for such an extreme climate, a testament to the region's isolation and the self-sufficiency of its inhabitants. Most homes are not connected to central heating systems. Instead, they rely on traditional coal or wood-fired boilers. Maintaining these fires is a constant, round-the-clock chore. A lapse of just a few hours can mean frozen pipes, and in such temperatures, bursting water mains are not merely an inconvenience, but a catastrophic event, leading to widespread damage and the potential for hypothermia within homes. This reliance on individual heating systems underscores the fragile balance between human ingenuity and environmental hostility. Even simple actions become complex calculations. Vehicles, for instance, cannot be turned off during the winter. Their engines are kept running constantly, often for months, or stored in heated garages. To stop an engine means risking its permanent seizure or an arduous, multi-hour thawing process, using open flames or boiling water. a dangerous practice in itself. School attendance, a fundamental aspect of society, is dependent on temperature. Schools in Oymyakon only close if temperatures drop below -52 degrees Celsius, a threshold that is frequently crossed, offering a brief reprieve from the bitter journey to class. This adaptability extends to diet, heavily reliant on meat and fish, which provide the high caloric intake necessary to generate body heat. Vegetables are a rarity, imported at great cost and logistical difficulty. These daily challenges are not exceptions. They are the unyielding rhythm of life in the pole of cold. In a place where even a few moments of exposed skin can lead to severe frostbite, the anatomy of survival in Oymyakon begins with the strategic layering of clothing. Far from a fashion statement, garments here are protective armor, meticulously chosen for their insulating properties and ability to trap warmth. The fundamental principle is to create multiple air pockets between layers, which act as insulators against the brutal external temperatures. Traditional Oymyakon attire consists of several distinct layers, often starting with thermal underwear made from wool or specialized synthetic fibers designed to wick moisture away from the skin. Layering is critical because perspiration, if allowed to remain on the body, can rapidly cool the skin through evaporation, leading to hypothermia. Over the base layer, residents typically wear thicker woolen sweaters, trousers, and vests. The outermost layer is paramount, often comprising parkas or coats crafted from animal furs, particularly reindeer or fox, known for their exceptional insulating capabilities. Reindeer fur, with its hollow guard hairs, is particularly effective at trapping warm air. These heavy outer garments are frequently complemented by felt boots, known as valenki, or reindeer hide boots reinforced with multiple layers of felt and fur. Headwear is equally vital. Fur hats, often ear-flapped, are essential to protect against significant heat loss, as up to 10% of body heat can escape from the head. Beyond clothing, a unique adaptation to the cold is seen in the local diet, predominantly composed of meat and fish. Yakutian horse meat, reindeer meat, and various types of frozen fish, such as stroganina, are staples. These protein and fat-rich foods provide the high caloric intake necessary to fuel the body's internal furnace, compensating for the continuous expenditure of energy required to maintain core body temperature. For instance, an adult living in intense cold can expend up to 5,000 calories daily simply to stay warm, significantly higher than the average caloric needs in temperate climates. This dietary strategy is not merely cultural. It is a bioenergetic imperative for continued survival in one of Earth's most unforgiving environments. While layers of clothing shield the body outdoors, the true sanctuary in Oymyakon's sub-zero world is found within the home, warmed by the unwavering embrace of the hearth. These dwellings are not merely shelters, they are fortresses against the lethal chill, meticulously designed and maintained to preserve precious internal heat. Homes in Oymyakon are traditionally built with thick, insulated walls, often constructed from logs or multiple layers of timber, which inherently provide better insulation than thinner modern materials. The roofs are also heavily insulated, typically with a thick layer of earth or peat, to prevent heat loss upwards and to bear the considerable weight of accumulated snow. Crucially, most houses stand on stilts, elevating them slightly above the permafrost. This architectural approach prevents the heat from the house from thawing the permafrost below, which could lead to structural instability and subsidence. The heart of every Oymyakon home is its heating system. Unlike many modern settlements, centralized heating is a rarity. Instead, individual households rely on powerful, often hand-built, coal or wood-burning stoves and boilers. These units are massive, robust, and designed for continuous operation. The process of fueling them is a daily, often multi-hourly chore, requiring significant quantities of firewood or coal. Residents estimate burning several tons of coal each winter, a testament to the immense energy demands of maintaining indoor temperatures at a comfortable 20 to 22 degrees Celsius, while exterior readings hover around minus 50 degrees Celsius. Maintaining this warmth is a matter of survival. Even a brief malfunction or neglect of the fire can lead to catastrophic consequences. Water pipes, if they exist, are often insulated with electric heating cables or run indoors. Most often water is fetched from heated communal wells or ice holes in the river. The resilience of these domestic systems, nurtured by constant vigilance and tireless effort, represents the core of human persistence against one of Earth's most extreme environments. In a land where the soil is permanently locked in permafrost for hundreds of meters deep, and the growing season is a fleeting 3 months, the concept of a harvest in Oymyakon takes on a unique and challenging dimension. Traditional agriculture, as understood in temperate climates, is largely impossible. Yet, the inhabitants of this frozen frontier have devised ingenious methods to sustain themselves, forging a diet rich in vital nutrients and calories necessary to combat the extreme cold. The primary food sources for Oymyakon residents are fundamentally rooted in animal husbandry and the bounty of the region's lakes and rivers. Reindeer herding, deeply ingrained in the culture of the indigenous Even people, provides not only meat but also furs, antlers, and transportation. Yakutian horses, a hardy and resilient breed adapted to the harsh climate, are also raised for their meat. These animals possess physiological adaptations, such as a dense, shaggy coat and the ability to graze through snow, that enable them to survive the long, brutal winters outdoors. Fishing in the frozen waters of the Indigirka River Basin is another critical component of the Oymyakon diet. Fishermen brave treacherous ice conditions, often drilling through meters of ice, to catch species like omul, muksun, and cheer. A local delicacy, stroganina, exemplifies the region's culinary adaptation: thin, frozen raw slices of fish, eaten with salt and pepper. This method of consumption preserves the fish naturally and provides essential omega-3 fatty acids. Vegetables and fruits are scarce, primarily imported from warmer regions at considerable cost. However, some hardy root vegetables, like potatoes and carrots, can be cultivated in warm seasons using greenhouses or insulated plots. Berries, such as cranberries and blueberries, are harvested during the brief summer and preserved for winter consumption. This reliance on a highly specialized, calorie-dense diet highlights the direct link between survival and the judicious harnessing of locally available, cold-adapted resources. Every meal in Oymyakon is not just sustenance, it is a calculated act of survival against the raw power of nature. The very ground beneath Oymyakon presents an unyielding opponent: permafrost. This perpetually frozen ground, extending hundreds of meters deep, dictates much of the village's infrastructure and challenges the most fundamental human activities, from construction to burial. Life here is a constant battle with an Earth that resists manipulation. Permafrost is defined as ground that remains completely frozen at or below 0 degrees Celsius for at least 2 consecutive years. In Oymyakon, this depth can reach an extraordinary 1,500 meters, nearly a mile, a testament to millennia of profound cold. The presence of permafrost profoundly impacts construction. Building directly on top of it causes the permafrost to thaw due to the heat generated by the structure. Thawing permafrost destabilizes the ground, leading to subsidence and structural collapse. This is why many buildings in Oymyakon, as observed previously, are constructed on stilts or piles, allowing cold air to circulate beneath the building and maintain the permafrost's frozen state. The engineering required to lay foundations in such conditions is complex and expensive, involving deep drilling and specialized piling techniques. Even the simple act of burial becomes an arduous undertaking. Digging a grave in permafrost is not a matter of shoveling earth. It is a labor-intensive process that can take days. The ground must be thawed gradually, typically using fires fueled by wood or coal, built directly on the burial site. After several hours of burning, the top layer of ground softens just enough to allow shoveling for a few centimeters. This process is repeated, layer by painstaking layer, until a sufficient depth is achieved. The work is physically demanding and emotionally taxing, underscoring the constant struggle against the environment. Beyond construction and burial, permafrost also severely limits the development of subterranean infrastructure, such as plumbing and sewage systems. Pipes must either be heated, heavily insulated, or placed above ground, presenting further engineering challenges and vulnerabilities to extreme cold. The permafrost is not just a geological feature, it is an active, formidable presence that demands respect and dictates the rhythm of daily life and long-term planning in Oymyakon. In Oymyakon, the air itself often feels crystalline, and the soundscape is profoundly shaped by the extreme cold. It is a world where silence often reigns supreme, punctuated by unique acoustic phenomena that are direct consequences of temperatures plunging far below freezing. These echoes in the silence are not merely background noise, they are indicators of the environment's intensity and the resilience required to inhabit it. One of the most striking auditory experiences in Oymyakon is the whispering of the stars. At temperatures below -50 degrees Celsius, the moisture in the air condenses into millions of tiny ice crystals. When these crystals fall, they create a peculiar, almost imperceptible rustling sound akin to a whisper, which locals attribute to the stars themselves. This phenomenon, while subtle, is a constant reminder of the intense cold and the dryness of the air. It's a sound that cannot be heard in less extreme climates, a unique acoustic signature of the Earth's cold pole. Another unforgettable sound is the crunch of snow underfoot. Unlike the soft tread on snow in milder temperatures, walking in Oymyakon often produces a sharp, high-pitched squeak or crunch. This is because at extremely low temperatures, snow crystals become rigid and hard, fracturing rather than compacting under pressure. The sound is distinctive, often described as similar to walking on sugar or styrofoam, and it carries surprisingly far in the still, dense air. This acoustic detail serves as a perpetual, almost rhythmic backdrop to outdoor activities, from fetching water to tending livestock. Even human breath creates its own sound here. As warm, moist air is exhaled, it instantly freezes into fine ice crystals, forming a visible fog often referred to as whispering of breath. In the extreme cold, this fog can persist for several seconds, and if listened to closely, one might hear the faint crackle of these crystals forming and dissipating. These subtle yet ever-present sounds collectively paint an auditory portrait of Oymyakon, where every whisper, every crunch, and every breath is a direct communication from the environment itself, an unceasing reminder of the extraordinary place where life perseveres. In Oymyakon, where temperatures naturally preserve food far more effectively than any refrigeration unit, the culinary challenge shifts from preventing spoilage to the intricate art of thawing. Preparing a meal here is not merely cooking, it is a meticulous process of coaxing frozen ingredients back to a palatable state without compromising their texture or nutritional value, particularly when dealing with the staples of meat and fish. The most common meats, Yakutian horse, reindeer, and wild game, are typically stored outdoors, often simply piled in sheds or even directly on the frozen ground. This natural deep freeze eliminates the need for modern freezers, but it means that any cut of meat intended for a meal must first undergo a thawing ritual. Direct heat, such as placing the meat straight into boiling water, is often avoided for larger portions, as it can cook the exterior while leaving the interior still rock solid, or toughen the meat significantly. Instead, a slow thawing process is preferred. Often, meat or fish destined for consumption will be brought indoors several hours, or even a full day, before preparation. It might be left at room temperature, which in a heated Oymyakon home is still a brisk 20 to 22 degrees Celsius, allowing the thaw to occur gradually from the outside in. For quicker thawing, items might be submerged in cold water, surprisingly effective due to water's higher thermal conductivity compared to air. For smaller items or slices, such as the thin strips of stroganina, the frozen state is precisely the desired condition. These paper-thin slices of raw fish or meat are shaved directly from the frozen block, offering a unique texture and flavor that is lost upon thawing. They are served immediately, eaten while still frozen. The ingenuity extends to water itself. With running water, a luxury in many homes, snow and ice are often brought inside and melted over the stove for drinking, hygiene, and cooking. This daily transformation of solid ice back into liquid sustains life. The art of thawing in Oymyakon is more than just a technique. It is a fundamental skill passed down through generations, essential for transforming the unyielding bounty of their frozen landscape into nourishing, life-sustaining meals. In a landscape where the mercury permanently plunges to depths that shatter conventional machinery, transportation in Oymyakon transforms from a mere convenience into an extraordinary feat of engineering, adaptation, and sheer human will. The roads themselves, often frozen rivers or hastily cleared tracks, present a treacherous terrain that demands specialized vehicles and unparalleled navigational skills. The primary artery connecting Oymyakon to the wider world is the Kolyma Highway, chillingly known as the Road of Bones. Constructed predominantly by Gulag prisoners in the Soviet era, this unpaved route is notoriously difficult, particularly in winter. Its name derives from the grim fact that the forced laborers who died during its construction were often buried beneath the road itself, due to the impenetrability of the permafrost. Today, This 2,031-kilometer highway remains a vital, yet perilous, link for goods and occasional travelers. Vehicles must be heavily modified to withstand the extreme cold. Engine blocks require constant heating. Many trucks and cars are fitted with additional external heaters or simply left running 24/7 for months, consuming vast quantities of fuel. Specialized winter-grade lubricants and coolants are essential, as standard fluids would thicken to immobility or freeze solid. Tires are often studded or designed for off-road capability, gripping the ice and compacted snow. Drivers are highly experienced, navigating blinding blizzards, black ice, and the ever-present danger of mechanical failure in temperatures that can cause immediate frostbite to exposed skin. A breakdown here is not just an inconvenience, it can be a life-threatening emergency. Beyond motorized transport, the traditional use of reindeer and horses remains crucial, particularly for accessing areas impassable to vehicles. Reindeer sleds, lightweight and agile, are perfectly suited for traversing deep snow and uneven terrain, often used by nomadic herders for hunting and moving their livestock. The hardy Yakutian horse, with its thick winter coat and ability to forage for food under snow, serves as a reliable animal for local transport, embodying centuries of adaptation to this unforgiving environment. Journey on the Bones is not just a metaphor. It captures the raw, fundamental challenge of movement across an unyielding, frozen landscape. In Oymyakon, the cold is not merely an inconvenience. It is an ever-present, potentially fatal adversary. Among its most insidious weapons is frostbite, an invisible threat that can silently seize exposed flesh, transforming living tissue into inert ice. Understanding and preventing frostbite is not just medical knowledge here. It is a fundamental aspect of daily survival, ingrained from childhood. Frostbite occurs when body tissues freeze, typically affecting extremities like fingers, toes, nose, and ears. The severe cold causes blood vessels to constrict, reducing blood flow to the affected areas. As temperatures continue to drop, ice crystals form inside and between cells, causing cellular damage and disrupting blood circulation. This can lead to tissue death. In Oymyakon, where temperatures routinely fall below -50 degrees Celsius, frostbite can set in within minutes if skin is left exposed. For instance, a person could walk outside without gloves for just 5 to 10 minutes, and the tips of their fingers could be irrevocably damaged. The initial stages of frostbite, often called frostnip, present with numbness and a white or grayish appearance of the skin, sometimes accompanied by tingling. Without immediate rewarming, it can progress rapidly. Superficial frostbite affects the outer layers of skin, leading to blistering. Deep frostbite, however, penetrates blood vessels, nerves, and muscle, resulting in permanent damage and often necessitating amputation of the affected limb. The intense dryness of the Oymyakon air adds another layer of danger, as it can accelerate moisture loss from exposed skin, increasing vulnerability. Prevention is paramount. Multi-layered clothing, particularly comprehensive coverage of all extremities, warm gloves or mittens, insulated boots, and a fur hat that protects the ears and face, is non-negotiable. Locals are acutely aware of the subtle signs of frostbite and the importance of seeking shelter and warmth at the first indication. Education on proper rewarming techniques, which involve gradually warming the affected area, never rubbing it, which can cause more damage, is crucial. This constant vigilance against the silent stranglehold of frostbite is a stark reminder of the deadly precision required to live and thrive in the Earth's coldest village. In a land where most surface water turns to solid ice for months on end, the struggle for a consistent, potable water supply is formidable. Yet, Oymyakon, paradoxically named after its unfrozen water, or melting water, is sustained by a natural thermal spring flowing beneath the permafrost, a truly sacred source of life in a world otherwise utterly frozen. The name Oymyakon itself derives from the even language word kayum, meaning unfrozen patch of water, place where fish winter. This refers directly to the thermal springs that keep a section of the Indigirka River ice-free even in the most extreme cold, creating a vital oasis for both wildlife and human settlement. The existence of these underground springs, warmed by geothermal activity, is the geological anomaly that allowed human habitation to thrive where it otherwise might have withered. These springs deliver water at a consistent, albeit still very cold, temperature above freezing, preventing the immediate solidification that affects all other surface waters. For many residents, accessing water still involves a daily pilgrimage to these communal springs or purpose-dug ice holes, known as prorubs, which connect to underground water sources or the unfrozen river patches. Locals brave the elements, carrying buckets or specialized containers to fetch water, a chore that is both physically demanding and fraught with the risk of exposure. The water is then transported back to homes, often on small sleds, and stored in large heated containers to prevent it from freezing solid once inside. This traditional method of water collection highlights the lack of modern piped water systems in much of the village, a direct consequence of the permafrost, which makes laying and maintaining underground pipes incredibly difficult and expensive. For homes that do have limited plumbing, the pipes are either laboriously insulated, often with electric heating elements, or run above ground, encased in protective housing. However, these systems are rare. The daily act of fetching water from the source is more than a chore. It is a profound connection to the land and to the very natural phenomenon that makes Oymyakon habitable, a testament to the life-giving water's embrace in this otherwise frozen world. While Oymyakon's sacred springs provide life-sustaining water, the most relentless and resource-intensive battle waged by its inhabitants is against the pervasive cold itself, a battle fueled by a constant and demanding supply of heat. The burden of warmth is fundamental to survival, requiring significant logistical effort and a substantial portion of daily resources. The primary fuel sources for Oymyakon are wood and coal. Unlike areas with easy access to forests, the immediate vicinity of Oymyakon does not provide an abundance of suitable timber for sustained heating. Wood, therefore, often needs to be sourced from a considerable distance, typically from more forested areas higher up in the mountains or along the river systems. The process of harvesting, transport, and storage of wood is arduous. Logs are cut during summer and autumn, often by hand, and then transported by truck or sled back to the village. Here, they must be meticulously stacked and cured to ensure optimal burning efficiency, a process that can take months. Coal, on the other hand, is generally supplied from larger mining operations within the Sakha Republic, requiring long-distance transportation along the treacherous Road of Bones. This makes coal a more expensive, though often more efficient, fuel source than locally sourced wood. A typical Oymyakon family can consume several metric tons of coal or tens of cubic meters of firewood each winter. This translates into a significant financial outlay and an immense physical effort for residents who must regularly bring fuel indoors from outdoor storage. The demand for fuel extends beyond just heating homes. As previously noted, vehicles are often left running for months, consuming significant amounts of petrol or diesel just to prevent their engines from seizing. The centralized boiler room, a critical piece of infrastructure for some public buildings like schools or the single clinic, also requires continuous feeding, often manned by dedicated staff around the clock. The acquisition, transport, and sustained burning of fuel is not merely a task. It is a profound and ongoing commitment, an ever-present reminder that the fight against the cold is perpetual, consuming resources, time, and energy before any other aspect of life can truly begin. Amidst the stark, frigid landscape of Oymyakon, childhood takes on a profoundly unique character, far removed from the playgrounds and warm classrooms of milder climates. The children of the ice are raised with an intrinsic understanding of their environment, developing a resilience and an appreciation for the subtle joys of life that few can truly comprehend. Play and perseverance are not separate concepts here. They are intertwined threads of an extraordinary upbringing. Education, a cornerstone of any society, navigates significant challenges. The village school, surprisingly well maintained, serves the small number of children from Oymyakon and surrounding hamlets. However, as previously mentioned, daily attendance is contingent upon a strict temperature threshold. Classes are only canceled if temperatures plummet below minus 52 degrees Celsius. This means that for much of the winter, children are bundled in multiple layers of heavy outerwear, trekking through snow and sub-zero air to reach their lessons. Their journey to school is an immediate lesson in endurance and preparedness. Expert climatologists note that physiological adaptation begins at a young age. Children raised in these conditions develop improved peripheral circulation and higher metabolic rates, helping them cope with the cold. Outdoor play, a universal aspect of childhood, is curtailed, but not absent. When temperatures permit, usually hovering around the more manageable minus 30 degrees Celsius to minus 40 degrees Celsius, children engage in traditional winter activities like sledding and building snow forts. These moments are brief, highly supervised, and always involve constant monitoring for signs of frostbite. The sheer effort required to move in heavy clothing transforms even simple games into physical challenges, building stamina and body awareness from a young age. Indoor life, centered around the warmth of the home, becomes paramount. Board games, storytelling, and practical skills learned from elders fill the longer indoor hours, fostering strong family bonds and an emphasis on resourcefulness. These children are not merely surviving, they are embodying a living testament to humanity's capacity to adapt, find joy, and thrive even in the most extreme corners of our planet. In Oymyakon, the village schoolhouse stands as a beacon of learning and, perhaps more critically, as a vital shield against the extreme elements. Providing an environment conducive to education here is a formidable undertaking, one that highlights the extraordinary measures required to maintain a semblance of normalcy in the world's coldest inhabited settlement. The Oymyakon school, like most critical infrastructure in the village, is a heated fortress designed to withstand the brutal winter. Its central heating system, often a coal-fired boiler, similar to those in private homes but on a larger scale, operates continuously, often 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, throughout the long winter months. Ensuring a consistent fuel supply for this system is a complex logistical challenge, requiring coal to be transported hundreds of kilometers along the road of bones. The school building itself is heavily insulated, with thick walls and multiple layers of glazing on its windows to prevent heat loss, a common architectural adaptation in permafrost regions. Perhaps the most striking aspect of education in Oymyakon is the attendance policy. While many schools globally close for a few inches of snow, the Oymyakon school operates relentlessly, only canceling classes when temperatures drop below an astounding -52 degrees Celsius. This threshold was set to reflect the extreme hardiness expected of children in the region and to ensure continuity of learning. On days when temperatures hover in the -40s, children still bundle up in their thickest furs and insulated gear to make the journey, often guided by parents or older siblings, reinforcing the communal effort required for daily life. The curriculum, while covering standard subjects, often incorporates elements relevant to life in the far north. Local history, including the history of the Even people and the Colima Highway, environmental studies, focusing on permafrost and local wildlife, and practical skills for cold weather survival are woven into lessons. The school functions as more than just an educational institution. It is a community hub, a warm gathering place, and a critical component of social cohesion, particularly during the prolonged isolation of winter. The very existence and operation of this school underscore the profound value placed on education, even when measured against the formidable, unyielding forces of nature. Life in Oymyakon is not a chaotic struggle against the elements, but a meticulously choreographed dance of adaptation, a series of deeply ingrained rituals of resilience that define the unbroken rhythm of daily existence. These practices, honed over centuries, transform the extraordinary into the ordinary, allowing human life to persist and even thrive in the most hostile climate on Earth. Every morning in Oymyakon unfolds with deliberate preparation. Starting the day involves not just dressing, but donning layers of specialized thermal clothing, often taking 15 to 20 minutes before stepping outside. This is not merely a habit. It is a critical defensive measure against immediate frostbite. The first outdoor task for many households is often tending to the stove or boiler, ensuring a continuous supply of warmth. Without this constant vigilance, internal pipes could freeze, and homes could rapidly become uninhabitable. This vigilance extends to vehicles, typically kept running overnight or housed in heated garages to prevent crippling engine failures. Hydration is another daily ritual. With piped water systems uncommon, fetching water from the unfrozen springs or ice holes is a communal morning routine. This journey, often through deep snow and bitter cold, epitomizes the interconnectedness and mutual reliance within the community. Locals might meet at the water source, exchanging greetings and news, reinforcing social bonds essential for psychological resilience in isolation. The return journey carrying heavy buckets of water is a physical test repeated daily. Even waste disposal is unique. Historically, and still commonly, residents use insulated outhouses, as plumbing for indoor toilets is impractical due to permafrost. The sheer volume of layers required for such an outdoor trip, even for a few moments, highlights the pervasive nature of the cold's influence on even the most basic bodily functions. These aren't just inconveniences. They are deeply embedded practices that manage risk, conserve energy, and maintain the fragile balance between human life and the extreme environment. The rhythm of Oymyakon life is a testament to the power of routine and adaptation in the face of relentless adversity. In a region so geographically remote and climatically extreme, one might expect profound isolation to dominate life in Oymyakon. Yet, a fascinating paradox emerges. These very conditions foster an exceptionally strong sense of community, transforming the harshest environment into a crucible that strengthens human bonds. It is a testament to the primal human need for connection, particularly when confronted by overwhelming natural forces. Oymyakon's population fluctuates, but generally hovers around 500 permanent residents. This small, tightly knit group comprises primarily ethnic Sakha, Yakuts, along with some Russians and even people, all sharing a common experience of surviving the cold. The remote location, hundreds of kilometers from the nearest major city, Yakutsk, means external assistance is often delayed or difficult to deliver, especially in winter. This geographical isolation necessitates a high degree of self-reliance and mutual support among community members. A broken-down vehicle, a depleted woodpile, or a medical emergency instantly becomes a communal concern rather than an individual burden. The communal aspect is visible in daily routines. Villagers often assist each other with chores like procuring firewood, fetching water from shared springs, or maintaining critical infrastructure. Shared knowledge of survival tactics, from traditional hunting and fishing to the subtle signs of impending frostbite, is passed down through generations and freely exchanged among neighbors. This collective expertise is not just cultural heritage, it is a vital safeguard. Scientific studies on isolated communities often demonstrate that social cohesion is a significant factor in long-term survival rates in challenging environments, and Oymyakon exemplifies this principle. Social gatherings within warm homes, often involving communal meals, storytelling, and music, become particularly significant during the long, dark winter months. These events combat the psychological toll of isolation and perpetual cold, fostering a sense of shared identity and belonging. In Oymyakon, the struggle against the cold forges not just individual resilience, but a collective spirit, demonstrating that even in the face of nature's formidable power, humanity's greatest strength lies in its ability to come together and support one another. The extreme environment, rather than fragmenting society, acts as a powerful unifier, creating a community bound by shared hardship and unwavering support. In a landscape that devours warmth and threatens life, the ability to sustain livestock is not merely an economic activity, but a critical pillar of Oymyakon's survival. The breath of beasts, the warm, living presence of animals, provides not only food and materials but also a profound link to traditional ways of life, demanding extraordinary measures to protect them from the Arctic's brutal grip. The key to livestock survival in Oymyakon lies in indigenous Yakutian breeds, specifically the Yakutian horse and a unique local breed of cattle. These animals are not fragile imported species. They are living testaments to natural selection, having adapted over millennia to the extreme cold. The Yakutian horse, for instance, possesses a remarkably dense, shaggy coat that can grow up to 10 centimeters long, providing insulation comparable to that of a polar bear. They also have a thick layer of subcutaneous fat and a metabolic rate adjusted to conserve energy. Unlike many domestic horse breeds, They can forage for food under thick snow, using their hooves to dig through several layers of compacted ice and snow to reach grasses below. Yakutian cattle also exhibit similar adaptations, albeit requiring more human intervention. While they can graze outdoors for longer periods than other cattle breeds in northern climates, they rely heavily on traditional, often underground, insulated barns called khotons during the coldest months. These structures are designed to trap the animal's body heat, maintaining vital temperatures that can prevent freezing. Farmers meticulously manage hay and feed supplies throughout the brief summer to ensure sufficient provisions for the long winter, as grazing becomes severely limited or impossible. Beyond their physiological adaptations, the care of these animals is a constant, labor-intensive duty. Providing daily water, often melted snow or ice, and ensuring adequate feed are non-negotiable tasks, regardless of temperature. The economic viability of these practices is paramount, as the animals provide not only meat and dairy, but also hides for clothing and shelter, and in the case of horses, transportation. The breath of beasts is a warm, living engine powering the resilient ecosystem of Oymyakon, providing the calories and resources essential for human flourishing in such an unyielding environment. In a climate where manufactured textiles often fail to provide adequate insulation, the people of Oymyakon have long relied on the thermal properties of natural materials, turning to the animal kingdom to craft their comfort. Wool and willpower describes not just the fibers they use, but the determination and skill required to transform raw materials into life-saving garments and essential household items. The primary natural materials utilized are animal furs and wool. Reindeer and fox furs are highly prized for their exceptional warmth-to-weight ratio and durability. Reindeer fur, in particular, with its hollow hairs, provides superior insulation by trapping air, making it ideal for the outer layers of parkas, hats, and mittens. The process of preparing these furs is labor-intensive, involving careful skinning, stretching, curing, and often smoking the hides to ensure longevity and flexibility in extreme cold. Traditional saddle making for Yakutian horses also uses durable leather and fur, testament to the integral role animals play. Wool, primarily from sheep, and, more significantly, from the Yakutian horse, is another critical resource. While sheep farming is limited, horsehair and wool from smaller domesticated animals is meticulously cleaned, spun into yarn, and then knitted or woven. Wool's inherent ability to retain warmth even when damp is a crucial property, distinguishing it from cotton, which rapidly loses insulating value under similar conditions. Hand-knitted socks, mittens, and sweaters are not merely fashionable accessories. They are essential survival gear, providing critical base and mid-layers that trap body heat. These traditional crafting skills are passed down through generations, ensuring that each new inhabitant understands the science of insulation inherent in their apparel. The design of these garments is also critical. Layered construction, snug fits around extremities to prevent heat loss, and durable stitching are all features honed over centuries. An average winter outfit can weigh several kilograms, a testament to the amount of material and craftsmanship invested. This active engagement with natural resources, transforming them into vital protection, speaks volumes about the self-sufficiency and deep practical knowledge embedded within the community. It is a powerful example of how human ingenuity, combined with the raw materials of their environment, allows life to flourish even in the planet's harshest crucible. While life in Oymyakon is defined by its deep roots in tradition and self-sufficiency, it is by no means entirely cut off from the outside world. The allure of the distant world, the promise of modern conveniences, information, and connection, still reaches this frozen outpost, creating a fascinating dynamic between ancient ways of life and the inexorable march of global connectivity. The advent of digital communication technologies has begun to chip away at the traditional isolation of Oymyakon. While unreliable or non-existent in the past, mobile phone coverage and internet access are slowly becoming more prevalent, albeit often limited to satellite connections or intermittent signals. This allows residents to maintain contact with relatives who may have moved to larger cities like Yakutsk or Moscow, access global news, and perhaps even conduct limited e-commerce. For a village so remote, this connection can be a psychological lifeline, reducing the feeling of being entirely forgotten by the wider world. It also provides access to information not readily available through local means. Tourism, surprisingly, has also become a small yet growing sector in Oymyakon. Drawn by the village's status as the pole of cold and its extreme environment, adventurers and curious travelers brave the arduous journey, contributing a modest but valuable income to local families who offer guest house accommodation, traditional meals, and guided winter activities like ice fishing or dog sledding. This interaction with outsiders brings fresh perspectives, economic opportunities, and a sense of pride in their unique heritage. However, the influx remains small, carefully managed to preserve the village's cultural integrity and avoid overwhelming its delicate infrastructure. These connections to the distant world are not without their complexities. They bring new expectations, consumer goods, and cultural influences that sometimes clash with traditional practices. The younger generation especially might feel the pull of opportunities elsewhere, leading to a slow but steady migration to urban centers. This demographic shift presents a delicate balance for the community, which strives to maintain its unique identity while selectively embracing elements of modernity that can improve daily life without eroding their core survival strategies. Oymyakon, therefore, exists at a fascinating nexus, embodying both profound traditional resilience and a cautious engagement with the ever-expanding global horizon. After months of perpetual twilight and temperatures that challenge the very definition of cold, the slow, almost imperceptible shift in the Arctic sky ushers in the most anticipated phenomenon in Oymyakon, the return of light. This isn't merely a change in season, it is a profound meteorological and psychological event, bringing with it a palpable sense of renewed energy, hope, and the promise of easier days. From late December, following the winter solstice, the daylight hours begin to lengthen by a few minutes each day. While initially minimal, by March, the increase becomes significant, transforming the landscape and the mood of the villagers. The sun, once a distant, weak presence, climbs higher in the sky, its rays growing stronger, piercing the long shadows of winter. This gradual increase in solar radiation signals the end of the extreme cold, though temperatures can remain below freezing well into May. Historically, the darkest days of winter brought about seasonal affective disorder, SAD, even in non-Arctic regions. But here the sheer relief of lengthening days impacts the whole community. The lengthening days allow for more outdoor activities without the immediate threat of frostbite. Children spend more time playing outside, and adults can dedicate longer hours to tasks like collecting wood, mending fences, or maintaining equipment without the urgent need to retreat indoors. The ice on the rivers and lakes begins its gradual process of thinning, signaling the eventual return of clearer waterways for fishing and transportation. The snow, which has blanketed the land since October, starts its slow melt, revealing the dormant tundra beneath. For the livestock, especially the Yakutian horses and reindeer, the return of light means easier access to forage as the snow thaws, reducing the need for intensive feeding. The migration patterns of wild game also begin to shift, offering new opportunities for hunting and supplementing diets. Cultivation, previously impossible, becomes a potential reality for hardy root vegetables, often grown in cold frames or insulated plots to extend the brief growing season. The return of light is more than a climatic change. It represents a fundamental recalibration of life in Oymyakon, a shift from a defensive posture against overwhelming cold to a more active, outward-looking engagement with their unique land. It is a powerful reminder that even in the most extreme environments, the cyclical rhythm of nature offers constant renewal and an enduring source of hope. In a place where fresh produce is a rare luxury and the elements conspire against conventional agriculture, the culinary traditions of Oymyakon are deeply intertwined with its survival story. The taste of tradition defines a diet not born of choice but necessity, where flavors are quite literally forged by frost, providing the essential caloric and nutritional density required to withstand the planet's most extreme cold. The cornerstone of the Oymyakon diet is meat. Yakutian horse meat, renowned for its leanness and flavor, is a staple, providing highly digestible protein and fats. Reindeer meat, often sourced from the nomadic herders in the region, is another crucial component, rich in iron and other micronutrients often scarce in an Arctic diet. These meats are prepared in various ways: boiled, roasted, or, famously, consumed raw and frozen. One of the most emblematic dishes is stroganina, made from thin, translucent shavings of freshly frozen fish or meat. Typically prepared from whitefish varieties caught in the Indigirka River system, such as omul, white salmon, or cheer. The fish is brought in from the sub-zero temperatures, skinned, and then shaved into delicate curls with a sharp knife. Eaten immediately, often dipped in a mixture of salt and black pepper, stroganina offers a unique textural experience, melting on the tongue while delivering a burst of clean, raw flavor. Scientific analysis reveals that consuming raw, frozen fish can preserve more of its delicate omega-3 fatty acids, crucial for cardiovascular health and providing energy in cold climates. Another traditional dish is kuyur, a rich blood sausage often made from horse or reindeer blood, combined with intestines and fat. This high-calorie, nutrient-dense food provides vital iron and energy. Even milk, a rare commodity in such conditions, finds its place. Yakutian cows produce remarkably rich milk, often consumed fermented or made into kurgati, a type of butter. These culinary practices reflect an intimate understanding of the environment and the nutritional needs it imposes. Every meal in Oymyakon is not just food. It is a meticulously crafted caloric and nutritional strategy, a daily act of defiance against the cold. The flavors are robust, designed for sustenance, truly forged by frost. In a land where access to modern medical facilities can be hours or even days away, the people of Oymyakon have cultivated a profound medicinal wisdom, relying on a blend of traditional knowledge, pragmatic cold weather remedies, and the resilience of their own bodies. These ancient cures, honed over generations, address the specific health challenges posed by their extreme environment. One of the most immediate and pervasive health threats is respiratory illness. The extremely cold, dry air can irritate the lungs and bronchial passages, making residents susceptible to coughs, colds, and more severe infections. Traditional remedies often involve steam inhalation, using boiled water infused with local herbs and coniferous needles, which are believed to have antiseptic and decongestant properties. Consuming warm broths made from rich animal fats, such as horse or reindeer broth, is also considered vital for maintaining warmth and providing critical nutrients to bolster the immune system. Frostbite, as previously discussed, is a constant danger. While modern medical advice emphasizes gradual rewarming and avoiding direct heat, the immediate traditional response often involves bringing the affected individual into a warmer environment and promoting circulation through gentle movement or, in some cases, careful massage. More severe cases, of course, require evacuation to larger medical centers, a logistics challenge in itself. However, the preventative measures, meticulous layering of clothing, vigilant observation of exposed skin, and community warnings are the primary defense against this pervasive threat. For centuries, the indigenous people of this region have also utilized elements from their unique ecosystem for medicinal purposes. Reindeer antlers, for example, have been used in various forms of traditional medicine across Siberia and East Asia, believed to possess restorative properties. Specific barks and berries, harvested during the brief summer, are prepared as infusions or poultices for a variety of ailments, from digestive issues to minor infections. While a small modern medical clinic exists in Oymyakon, providing basic care, the depth of traditional medicinal wisdom represents a crucial layer of defense for a community living at humanity's cold limit. This knowledge acts as a testament to the enduring ingenuity and resourcefulness of people adapting to survive, drawing upon the land itself for both sustenance and healing. For several weeks each winter, the sun never fully ascends above the horizon in Oymyakon, plunging the village into a period known as the polar night. This prolonged darkness, combined with the extreme cold, creates a profound environmental and psychological challenge that necessitates unique coping mechanisms. Surviving the polar night requires more than just physical resilience. It demands a strong mental fortitude forged by centuries of experience. The polar night in Oymyakon is not absolute darkness. Rather, it is characterized by several hours of civil twilight each day, allowing for a faint, ethereal glow on the horizon. However, the absence of direct sunlight impacts human physiology in several ways. The most significant is the disruption of the circadian rhythm in the body's natural production of melatonin, which regulates sleep cycles. This can lead to sleep disturbances, fatigue, and a condition similar to seasonal affective disorder, SAD, though exacerbated by the extreme environmental stresses. Scientific research indicates that prolonged light deprivation can impact mood, energy levels, and cognitive function. To counteract the effects of the polar night, the people of Oymyakon rely on a combination of natural adaptations and cultural practices. Maintaining strict routines for daily activities, even in the absence of sunlight cues, helps to regulate sleep-wake cycles. The emphasis on social gatherings within the warmth of homes, as discussed earlier, provides crucial psychological support, combating feelings of isolation and depression. Bright indoor lighting, when available, also plays a role in simulating daylight and helping to regulate melatonin levels. The high-fat, high-protein diet, rich in vitamin D from fish and animal products, also helps to counteract deficiencies caused by lack of sunlight, though supplements are often recommended. During these weeks, the shimmering aurora borealis, or northern lights, sometimes paints the night sky in vibrant hues, offering a breathtaking natural spectacle that breaks the monotony of darkness. These celestial displays are more than just beautiful. They are a source of wonder and spiritual connection that can uplift the human spirit in the midst of profound adversity. The polar night of Oymyakon is a period where the inner strength of its inhabitants is truly tested, and their capacity to find dreams in the darkness is a testament to their enduring human spirit. In the quiet, protracted darkness of Oymyakon's winter, with the aurora borealis frequently painting the canvas of the night sky, oral tradition becomes a vibrant, living force. Stories by starlight are more than mere entertainment. They are the repositories of history, wisdom, community values, and the very spirit of survival, passed down through generations beneath the shimmering northern lights. The long winter evenings, with families gathered around the warm hearths, provide the ideal setting for storytelling. This practice is deeply embedded in the culture of the indigenous Saka and Even peoples, who constitute the majority of Oymyakon's population. These narratives often revolve around themes of resilience, respect for nature, cleverness in hunting, and the importance of community solidarity. They include ancient myths, epic poems such as the Olonko, a UNESCO-recognized masterpiece of oral literature of the Yakuts, comprising tales of heroes, spirits, and the cosmos, historical accounts of ancestors, and personal anecdotes of navigating the treacherous environment. Master storytellers, often elders, play a crucial role in preserving local knowledge. Through their carefully crafted narratives, younger generations learn about traditional hunting routes, the behaviors of local wildlife, the properties of medicinal plants, and the nuanced signs of changing weather patterns. These stories are not static. They are dynamic, evolving with each telling, incorporating new experiences while retaining core lessons. For instance, tales of successful reindeer herding strategies or overcoming unexpected blizzards serve as practical lessons disguised as engaging adventures. Anthropological studies highlight the critical function of oral traditions in non-literate societies, where they serve as primary educational tools, conveying complex information and cultural identity. The presence of the aurora borealis adds a mystical dimension to these storytelling sessions. For centuries, the northern lights have held symbolic significance for Arctic indigenous cultures, often interpreted as spirits dancing or messages from ancestors. Storytellers frequently weave descriptions of these celestial phenomena into their narratives, reinforcing the connection between human life and the awe-inspiring natural world that surrounds them. In Oymyakon, under the vast star-dusted canopy, these stories by starlight bind the past to the present, instilling a deep sense of belonging and equipping each new generation with a collective wisdom necessary to continue the extraordinary human story in the pole of cold. In Oymyakon, every structure is a carefully engineered defense against the relentless cold and the unique challenges of building on permafrost. The architecture of endurance is a lexicon of survival, where design principles are dictated not by aesthetics, but by the brute force of nature, ensuring homes stand resilient against temperatures that could shatter conventional construction. The most fundamental challenge is the permafrost itself. As discussed, traditional foundations cause heat from the building to thaw the frozen ground, leading to instability. Therefore, homes and critical buildings in Oymyakon are typically constructed on piles or stilts, often driven deep into the permafrost, sometimes 3 to 5 meters or more. This elevation creates an air gap between the heated structure and the frozen ground, allowing cold air to circulate beneath, thus preventing heat transfer that would destabilize the permafrost. This ingenious solution, while increasing construction costs and complexity, is non-negotiable for long-term structural integrity. Above the raised foundations, walls are built to extraordinary thicknesses. Traditional log cabins, still prevalent in the village, leverage the natural insulating properties of wood. Modern homes often utilize multiple layers of timber insulation materials, such as mineral wool or fiberglass, and vapor barriers to create an incredibly robust thermal envelope. Windows, notorious points of heat loss, are triple glazed or even quadruple glazed, creating multiple air pockets to trap heat and prevent condensation that would otherwise freeze the panes solid. Entranceways are often designed with several intervening doors or small unheated vestibules, forming airlocks to prevent blasts of cold air from penetrating directly into the living spaces. Roofs are another critical component, designed to withstand heavy snow loads while also providing insulation. Multi-layered construction, often with an earth or peat layer, helps to prevent heat from escaping upwards, acting as an additional thermal buffer. The strategic placement of small, often south-facing windows maximizes the capture of what little sunlight is available during the shorter days, contributing passively to interior warmth, though this effect is minimal during the depths of winter. This painstaking approach to building, where every material and design choice prioritizes thermal protection, demonstrates a deep, practical understanding of cryo-architecture, transforming shelters into fortresses that defy one of Earth's most formidable environments. While external structures and layered clothing provide crucial defenses, the ultimate battle against Oymyakon's cold is fought within the human body itself. The human furnace describes the remarkable physiological adaptations developed by those living in extreme cold, turning their own biology into a crucial ally in the internal combat against the pervasive chill. Indigenous populations in Arctic regions, including the Saka and even peoples around Oymyakon, exhibit specific physiological traits that aid in thermoregulation. One significant adaptation is a higher basal metabolic rate, BMR. This means their bodies naturally generate more internal heat at rest compared to individuals from warmer climates. Research conducted on Arctic populations has shown BMRs can be 20 to 30% higher, effectively making their bodies more efficient at burning calories to produce warmth, much like a furnace running at a higher setting. This metabolic boost helps maintain core body temperature even when ambient temperatures are dangerously low. Peripheral circulation also shows distinct adaptations. While initial exposure to cold causes peripheral vasoconstriction, diverting blood from extremities to protect vital organs, long-term residents of Oymyakon, particularly those exposed from childhood, often exhibit a phenomenon known as cold-induced vasodilation. This involves periodic reopening of blood vessels in the fingers and toes, allowing warm blood to flow back into the extremities for short periods. This adaptation protects against severe frostbite by preventing prolonged tissue ischemia, though it comes at the cost of increased heat loss from these areas. This delicate balance showcases the body's sophisticated response to chronic cold stress. Furthermore, the Oymyakon diet, characterized by its high fat and protein content, is not merely cultural preference, but a direct response to the body's elevated energy demands. Each gram of fat provides approximately 9 calories, double that of carbohydrates or protein, making it an incredibly efficient fuel source for sustained heat production. The consumption of large quantities of horse meat, reindeer meat, and fatty fish provides the necessary caloric input to power this human furnace. These internal biological systems, alongside external behavioral and technological adaptations, collectively underscore the profound degree to which life in Oymyakon represents a testament to human resilience, demonstrating that even at Earth's most frigid extremes, the body can adapt and thrive. In the vast, untamed wilderness surrounding Oymyakon, where cultivation is nearly impossible, hunting remains not just a sport, but a vital, often life-sustaining activity. The hunter's resolve is a complex blend of ancient skills, deep ecological knowledge, and sheer endurance, essential for providing critical sustenance and materials in this pristine yet unforgiving Arctic landscape. Hunters in Oymyakon often track animals such as moose, wild reindeer, and various fur-bearing animals like fox and sable. The prey provides high-calorie meat, rich in vital nutrients that are scarce in a fruit and vegetable-deprived diet. Furs are equally important, offering superior insulation for clothing and bedding, a material necessity in these extreme temperatures. Successful hunting requires an intimate understanding of animal behavior, migration patterns, and the subtle signs left upon the snow-covered ground. This knowledge, honed over generations, is passed down from elder hunters to the young, often through direct apprenticeship in the wilderness. The hunting season extends through the brutal winter months, demanding incredible physical and mental fortitude. Hunters traverse vast distances on skis, snowshoes, or snowmobiles, often spending days away from the warmth of the village. They must contend with low visibility during blizzards, the constant threat of frostbite, and the risk of mechanical failure in temperatures that can quickly become life-threatening. Equipment must be meticulously maintained. Rifles require special lubricants to function in extreme cold, and clothing must be impenetrable to the wind and insulated against the persistent chill. Trapping is another crucial aspect, particularly for smaller, fur-bearing animals. Trap lines, often stretching for many kilometers, require regular maintenance and checking, demanding sustained effort throughout the winter. The careful processing of the hides, from skinning to curing, is as important as the hunt itself, ensuring that no part of the animal is wasted. This holistic approach, respecting the animal and utilizing every part, is a cornerstone of traditional Arctic subsistence. The hunter's resolve is more than just about procuring food. It represents a profound connection to the land and an unyielding commitment to sustain their community directly from the hand of nature. It is a testament to the enduring human capacity to adapt and provide, even when facing the elements at their most brutal. Beyond the dramatic pursuit of large game, a more subtle yet equally vital subsistence method persists in Oymyakon, the art of trapping. Traps and tradition signifies a deep-rooted knowledge of the land and its creatures, a delicate ecological balance, and a continuous cycle of survival that has sustained generations in this extreme environment. Trapping focuses primarily on fur-bearing animals such as sable, ermine, fox, and squirrel. While their meat can provide sustenance, the primary value lies in their pelts, which historically represented a crucial trading commodity and a direct source of the most effective insulation for clothing. These furs are essential for crafting the hats, mittens, and parka trims that provide critical protection against the -50 degrees Celsius and below temperatures. Without reliable natural furs, survival in the deepest winter would be significantly more challenging. The construction and placement of traps require intimate knowledge of local animal behavior, their territories, and their seasonal movements. Trappers, often utilizing methods passed down through families, set their lines strategically along trails, near water sources, or in areas known for high animal density. These lines can stretch for many kilometers, requiring periodic checks every few days, an arduous journey in itself through deep snow and extreme cold. Trappers often use skis or snowmobiles, carrying all necessary provisions to survive potential breakdowns or unexpected blizzards. The traps themselves range from traditional snares and deadfalls, designed to be humane and efficient, to more modern leg-hold traps. Strict regulations are in place to ensure ethical trapping practices and sustainable populations. This cyclical process of trapping, harvesting, and processing furs is not merely an individual activity. It is deeply interwoven into the community's economic and social fabric. The skills associated with preparing pelts, skinning, stretching, drying, and curing are specialized trades, ensuring that the valuable furs are maximized for warmth and their selling potential. These pelts provide income for essential goods that cannot be produced locally. Traps and tradition thus underscores an enduring relationship with the natural world, a careful balance that respects the cycle of life and death in a pristine wilderness. It epitomizes the resourcefulness with which Oymyakon residents have adapted, transforming the elements into tools for their continued existence in the most challenging of climates. In a landscape as formidable and awe-inspiring as Oymyakon, where the forces of nature exert such profound influence, it is perhaps inevitable that a deep spiritual connection to the environment has endured. The shaman's call represents the rich indigenous spiritual traditions that have long coexisted and in many ways intertwined with the harsh realities of life in this frozen frontier, offering solace, guidance, and a profound respect for the animate world. The indigenous Saka people, the predominant ethnic group in the region, traditionally practice a form of animism and shamanism. This belief system posits that spirits inhabit all elements of nature, the trees, rivers, mountains, and especially the powerful weather phenomena that dominate their lives. The severe cold itself, along with the permafrost, is seen not as a mere scientific phenomenon, but as a living entity, an integral part of the spirit world that must be respected and understood. This spiritual worldview fosters a deep, almost familial relationship with the environment rather than one of conquest or subjugation. While suppressed during the Soviet era, shamanic practices have seen a resurgence since the 1990s. Shamans, or oyuns, are revered figures who act as intermediaries between the human and spirit worlds. Their roles include healing the sick, guiding community rituals, predicting weather patterns, a critical skill for hunters and herders, and ensuring harmonious relations with the spirits of the land. Rituals often involve offerings to nature spirits, particularly to the spirit of the cold, Chiskan, who is often depicted as the mythological keeper of the cold. These offerings, typically of milk or traditional food, are performed at sacred sites, intended to appease the spirits and ensure a fruitful hunting season or a less severe winter. These spiritual practices serve more than just a religious function. They are deeply therapeutic and psychologically adaptive. They provide a framework for explaining the inexplicable, for managing fear in the face of extreme danger, and for reinforcing communal identity and shared values. In a setting where human control over the environment is limited, these beliefs empower individuals by offering a sense of connection and purpose. The shaman's call thus highlights how spirituality in Oymyakon is not an escape from reality, but an integral part of understanding and enduring it, intertwining ancient beliefs with the exigencies of modern survival in the coldest village on earth. Beyond the visible struggles and daily routines, life in Oymyakon is permeated by ancestral echoes, the continuing influence of countless generations who have navigated this icy landscape. These whispers from the ancient ice resonate through language, customs, and the very genetic makeup of the people, forming an unbreakable link to their past and providing a blueprint for their future. The Saka language, a Turkic language with deep roots in Siberia, carries within it a rich lexicon specifically pertaining to snow, ice, and cold weather phenomena. Words that describe various states of ice, types of snow, or specific wind conditions are numerous and nuanced, reflecting a precise and detailed observation of their environment, essential for survival. This linguistic precision is not merely academic. It allows for highly contextual communication about dangers, hunting conditions, or travel safety, critical information in a constantly shifting, perilous landscape. The continued use of their ancestral language helps preserve cultural identity and reinforces the collective knowledge base. Beyond language, the cultural practices and celebratory rituals often contain elements that pay homage to their ancestors and the powerful forces of nature. For instance, the Hayak, the Saka New Year festival traditionally held in June during the summer solstice, symbolizes the revival of nature and the start of a new life cycle. While it occurs during the brief warmth, its very celebration underscores the relief and rejuvenation after the long, dark winter, connecting the present community's experience to that of all who came before them. These traditions are not static. They are living expressions of resilience, celebrating the continuation of life against formidable odds. Moreover, recent genetic studies on indigenous Arctic populations, including the Saka, have begun to uncover potential genetic adaptations that might contribute to their survival in extreme cold. While research is ongoing, initial findings suggest variants in genes related to fat metabolism, energy regulation, and blood flow could play a role. These genetic whispers from the ancient ice indicate a biological inheritance that complements the cultural and technological adaptations, offering a fascinating glimpse into the deep history of human tenacity, in the face of environmental extremes. In Oymyakon, the past is not a distant memory. It is a vibrant, living presence, guiding and shaping the enduring human story in this remarkable corner of the world. Even in Oymyakon, a bastion of traditional survival, the tendrils of the modern world are extending, slowly but inexorably altering the fabric of daily life. The modern intrusion describes the fascinating and often challenging integration of contemporary technology and global connectivity into a landscape previously defined by its profound isolation and time-honored methods. The most significant modern intrusion is the increasing availability of communication technologies. While high-speed internet remains sporadic and expensive, primarily relying on satellite dishes susceptible to extreme weather, mobile phone service has gradually improved in and around the village. This connectivity allows residents to communicate more easily with family in larger cities and provides access to information, news, and entertainment that was previously unavailable. For a community so physically isolated for much of the year, this digital bridge can alleviate some psychological burdens of remoteness. It also enables quicker response times for emergencies, a critical factor given the extreme conditions. In terms of infrastructure, while old-style wood and coal heating remain dominant, there are gradual updates. Some public buildings and newer homes might feature more efficient, if still rudimentary, electrical heating systems, though the reliability of the local power grid, often sustained by aging diesel generators, is always a concern. Basic amenities like showers and, occasionally, rudimentary indoor plumbing are slowly appearing, but largely remain the exception due to the prohibitive costs and engineering challenges posed by permafrost. These changes bring elements of convenience, yet also introduce new dependencies on external supply chains for parts and technical expertise. The economic landscape also sees modern influences. While traditional reindeer herding and hunting remain vital, the modest growth in extreme tourism has brought new, albeit niche, economic opportunities. Local residents act as guides, provide accommodation, and sell local handicrafts, offering a direct link to the global economy. However, this interaction can also present cultural challenges as traditional lifestyles meet the expectations and sometimes superficial curiosity of visitors. The modern intrusion is a double-edged sword. It offers unprecedented access and convenience, but also carries the potential for cultural erosion and an increased vulnerability to global economic fluctuations. Oymyakon thus navigates a complex path, striving to embrace modernity's benefits while safeguarding the unique resilience forged by generations in the cold. In the heart of the pole of cold, a profound transformation is slowly taking hold, driven by the persistent push to bridge the immense geographical and communicative distances that once defined Oymyakon. The digital divide explores how the arrival of wires and, more importantly, the invisible waves of communication are connecting this remote outpost to the global village, creating both opportunities and complex challenges. For decades, communication with Oymyakon was rudimentary, relying on limited single sideband radio, expensive satellite phones, or the infrequent post. The Internet, initially an abstract concept, began to arrive through expensive and intermittent satellite connections, often requiring dishes warmed to prevent frost accumulation. These early connections were slow, costly, and unreliable, frequently interrupted by blizzards or equipment failure in the extreme cold. However, the situation is gradually improving. Regional initiatives and state investment are slowly extending broadband infrastructure to more remote parts of the Sakha Republic. While fiber optic cables directly to Oymyakon are still a distant dream due to the permafrost and vast distances, microwave and more robust satellite links are gaining ground. The impact of this digital connectivity is multifaceted. For schools, it means access to educational resources, online learning platforms, and the ability to interact with students and teachers from across Russia and beyond. For the local administration, it streamlines communication with regional authorities in Yakutsk, improving logistics for vital supplies. Medically, it enables telemedicine consultations, potentially life-saving in a region where specialist care is hours away. For residents, it bridges the social gap, allowing them to participate in social media, access news, and engage with markets and opportunities that were previously unimaginable. This reduces brain drain by offering reasons for younger people to remain in their homeland. However, the digital divide remains significant. The cost of equipment and internet access is often high relative to local incomes. The harsh environment continues to pose maintenance challenges for delicate electronics. More fundamentally, the influx of global information and cultural trends introduces new pressures on traditional ways of life, prompting questions about cultural preservation and the impact on indigenous languages as more content is consumed in Russian or English. Oymyakon stands at a fascinating juncture, a living laboratory where the ancient art of extreme survival is now being reshaped by the pervasive, electrifying influence of 21st century digital communication. As the modern world inches closer, the people of Oymyakon face a poignant dilemma: how to embrace progress while safeguarding the very traditions that have ensured their survival for centuries. The burden of memory refers to the profound responsibility felt by the community to preserve a way of life that is increasingly unique, yet simultaneously under threat from external forces and internal demographic shifts. The demographic challenge is perhaps the most immediate. While Oymyakon still maintains a vibrant community, like many remote areas globally, it experiences a slow but perceptible out-migration. Younger generations, drawn by educational opportunities, easier living conditions, and higher-paying jobs in urban centers like Yakutsk, sometimes choose not to return. This trend, if sustained, risks eroding the critical mass of knowledge and skilled individuals necessary to maintain the complex network of self-sufficiency. The traditional skills, from hunting and trapping to horse herding, intricate fur preparation, and the specific knowledge required to manage a home in extreme cold, are typically passed down through families and communities. When young people leave, this intergenerational transfer of knowledge is interrupted. Efforts are being made within the community and by regional cultural organizations to document and preserve these vanishing practices. Elders, revered as living libraries of ancestral knowledge, are encouraged to share their stories, techniques, and spiritual insights. Local museums, often small and community-run, serve as repositories for artifacts, tools, and written or oral histories that detail the unique adaptations. Festivals, like the aforementioned Yiyak, become crucial venues for reinforcing cultural identity and showcasing traditional arts, crafts, and sports, such as Yakutian wrestling or horse racing, to both community members and external visitors. The burden of memory also extends to the physical landscape. The markers of their unique history, from traditional burial sites in the permafrost to ancient hunting grounds, are integral to their identity. Protecting these sites, often in remote and difficult-to-access areas, is another aspect of preserving their heritage. Oymyakon is not just a place on a map, it is a repository of human ingenuity and resilience, a living testament to the enduring power of culture in the face of environmental extremity. The challenge is immense, but the resolve to keep these ancestral echoes alive is powerful. Understanding that their past is not just history, but a guiding force for their future. As Oymyakon ventures deeper into the 21st century, its people are acutely aware that survival, as always, means adapting. Future's Frozen Footsteps describes the delicate balancing act between maintaining traditional resilience and embracing strategic change as the community navigates not just the cold, but the warming world and the pressures of modernity. One of the most profound, yet often invisible challenges facing Oymyakon is climate change. While globally recognized as the pole of cold, the Arctic as a whole is warming at an alarming rate, more than twice the global average. Although Oymyakon's extreme continental climate might buffer it from the most immediate effects, long-term trends could lead to unpredictable shifts. Thawing permafrost, for instance, poses a significant threat to infrastructure. Even a minor permafrost degradation could destabilize buildings, roads, and pipelines, necessitating costly and complex repairs. Changes in snow cover or winter precipitation patterns could impact traditional hunting and herding practices, fundamentally altering the ecosystem upon which their subsistence economy relies. Observing these environmental changes and adapting proactively will be paramount. Culturally, the impact of increased connectivity and external influences continues to shape the community's future. The younger generation, increasingly exposed to global culture and opportunities, faces the choice between perpetuating time-honored traditions or pursuing paths that lead away from Oymyakon. The challenge lies in empowering youth with modern skills and education while simultaneously instilling a deep appreciation and knowledge of their unique heritage. Programs focused on language preservation, traditional crafts, and indigenous ecological knowledge are crucial for ensuring that future's frozen footsteps carry the weight of their rich past. Economically, diversifying local income streams beyond traditional subsistence and nascent tourism is a significant consideration. Exploring sustainable resource management, small-scale local industries, or integrating digital opportunities will be key to creating a stable economic future. The story of Oymyakon is not just about extreme cold. It is about the enduring human capacity for adaptation. It is a living laboratory where the past, present, and future converge, showcasing how a community deeply rooted in its environment continuously reinvents its survival strategies to face a world in constant flux. The footsteps of Oymyakon's future are indeed frozen, but they are purposeful, determined, and enduring. For centuries, Oymyakon remained a realm largely untouched by the wider world, but in recent decades, its status as the pole of cold has drawn a unique kind of pilgrim, adventurers, scientists, and curious travelers from across the globe. The guest's gaze explores the impact of outsiders in this remote outpost, a fascinating cultural exchange that brings both opportunities and new dynamics to the village. The phenomenon of extreme tourism has steadily grown in Oymyakon. Individuals seeking to test their limits, experience unparalleled cold, or simply witness a way of life so distinct from their own, undertake the arduous journey. These visitors arrive typically between December and March, when temperatures are at their most brutal, often requiring specialized gear and expert guides. The local community, ever resourceful, has adapted to this new influx, with some families offering guest house accommodation, transportation, and authentic cultural experiences like ice fishing, dog sledding, or visits to local reindeer herders. This provides a valuable, albeit supplementary, income stream for a village with limited economic opportunities. The interactions between locals and tourists are often characterized by mutual curiosity and respect. For the visitors, it's an immersive dive into a world beyond their comprehension, offering profound insights into human resilience. They witness firsthand the meticulous layering of clothes, the constant tending of fires, the unique diet, and the pervasive impact of permafrost on every aspect of daily life. For the villagers, these encounters provide a window to the outside world, a chance to share their heritage, and often an opportunity to correct misconceptions about their lives. Locals frequently express pride in their home and its extreme conditions, viewing it not as a hardship but as a unique identity. However, the presence of outsiders is not without challenges. There is the logistical strain on the village's limited resources, such as food supplies or fuel for heating and transportation. More subtly, there is the potential for cultural impact. While tourists are generally respectful, the presentation of extreme experiences can sometimes simplify or exoticize a complex way of life. Balancing the economic benefits of tourism with the preservation of cultural authenticity and environmental integrity remains an ongoing delicate act. The guest's gaze provides a unique reflection, showing how Oymyakon, while remaining deeply rooted in its traditions, is also engaging with a global audience, becoming a symbol of human adaptation against the planet's most formidable challenge. In a place where survival hinges on collective effort and mutual aid, the concept of hospitality in hardship is not merely a social grace, but a deeply ingrained cultural imperative. For centuries, welcoming the weary traveler into a warm home has been a matter of honor and necessity, a tradition that continues to define Oymyakon's interactions with those who brave the journey to its unique outpost. The Saka and even peoples, with their nomadic and semi-nomadic heritage, have always understood the perils of travel in the vast, unforgiving Siberian wilderness. A traveler lost or stranded in extreme cold faces almost certain death. Therefore, the provision of shelter, warmth, and food to anyone in need was and remains a fundamental ethic. This hospitality isn't dispensed lightly. It's a recognition of shared vulnerability in the face of immense natural power. The simple act of offering a cup of hot tea in a place by a fire can literally save a life. Today, this tradition extends to the growing number of visitors seeking to experience Oymyakon's extreme conditions. Guest houses, often rudimentary but always warm, offer more than just a bed. They provide a crucial buffer against the cold. Local families open their homes, sharing meals of traditional dishes like stroganina or horse meat with their guests. This hospitality often comes with implicit education. Visitors are gently schooled in the immediate dangers of the cold, the necessity of proper clothing, and the local customs that have been perfected for survival. They learn that leaving a car running, closing doors quickly, and not extending conversation for too long Outdoors are not eccentricities, but fundamental rules of engagement with the environment. Cultural exchange often flourishes in these settings. Locals, proud of their resilience and unique way of life, answer questions about their daily routines, traditions, and the challenges they face. Visitors, in turn, share stories from their own distant worlds, creating small bridges of understanding across vast cultural and geographical divides. This interaction, fueled by genuine curiosity and the shared experience of enduring the cold, transcends typical tourism. It becomes a testament to human connection, demonstrating that even at Earth's coldest extremes, warmth can be found not just in a crackling fire, but in the outstretched hand of a welcoming host. This hospitality in hardship illustrates the profound humanity that thrives amidst the ice and snow, proving that even in the harshest environments, compassion and community remain paramount. Even in a place synonymous with extreme cold, the pervasive reach of global climate change is beginning to manifest, subtly altering the very conditions that define Oymyakon. The price of progress, industrialization, and global warming is now presenting new challenges, forcing adaptations to unprecedented environmental shifts even in this bastion of traditional resilience. While Oymyakon's continental climate experiences profound seasonal temperature swings, long-term meteorological data indicates a discernible warming trend in the broader Arctic region. Although the coldest recorded temperatures might still occur, the average winter temperatures have shown a slight increase over decades, and more noticeably, spring thaws are occurring earlier and autumn freezes later. This shift, while seemingly minor in such cold extremes, has significant consequences. The most critical is the thawing of permafrost. As previously covered, permafrost provides the stable foundation for all infrastructure in O region. Even a slight increase in average ground temperatures can lead to the active layer of permafrost deepening, causing the ground to become unstable. The visible effects of thawing permafrost are already being observed in some Arctic communities, where buildings tilt, roads buckle, and pipelines are stressed, leading to expensive maintenance and potential environmental hazards from ruptured pipes. In Oymyakon, this destabilization could threaten homes built on stilts and the delicate balance of the village's infrastructure. Beyond infrastructure, changes in permafrost affect the local hydrology, altering water flow and potentially impacting the sacred springs that sustain the community. Wildlife patterns, too, are susceptible to these shifts. Changes in plant growth cycles, insect populations, and the accessibility of forage due to altered snow and ice conditions can impact the traditional hunting and herding practices crucial for subsistence. This price of progress is a complex irony. Global industrialization, far removed from the pristine Arctic, poses arguably the greatest long-term threat to a way of life that has demonstrated unparalleled resilience against natural extremes. Oymyakon's unique status as a beacon of cold survival now faces an existential question: how to adapt to a warming world when its very identity is defined by the profound cold. The long-term implications represent an unfolding natural experiment where traditional ecological knowledge must now contend with new human-induced environmental variables. Against the backdrop of a warming Arctic, the role of local communities as guardians of the glaciers takes on a new critical significance. In Oymyakon, protecting their pristine environment is not just an abstract ecological concern. It is a direct extension of their centuries-old relationship with the land, a pragmatic necessity for preserving the very conditions that allow their unique way of life to endure. The deep ecological knowledge held by the indigenous Saka and even peoples is a powerful resource in environmental stewardship. Their understanding of permafrost dynamics, water cycles, animal migrations, and plant life, honed over countless generations, provides invaluable insights into the delicate balance of their Arctic ecosystem. This traditional ecological knowledge, TEK, often complements modern scientific research, offering a holistic perspective on environmental changes. For instance, local hunters and herders are often the first to observe subtle shifts in animal behavior or snow quality, early indicators of broader environmental trends. Their intimate connection to the land compels them to act as its fervent protectors. Efforts to protect Oymyakon's environment are multifaceted. Resource management, particularly in hunting and fishing, is geared towards sustainability. Traditional quotas and practices ensure that wildlife populations are not overexploited, safeguarding the long-term viability of their subsistence activities. Waste management, a challenge in all remote communities, is approached with resourcefulness. Though modern systems are limited, the preference for natural materials and the upcycling of resources minimize environmental impact. The harsh conditions themselves contribute to a form of natural preservation, sterilizing and slowing the decomposition of waste, though this also has its own long-term implications. Moreover, a heightened awareness of global climate change is galvanizing local voices. Oymyakon residents, as living testaments to the power of the cold, become compelling advocates for Arctic preservation. Their first-hand accounts of changing conditions resonate with a unique authority. The message is clear. If the pole of cold itself is susceptible to environmental shifts, then the impact on less extreme regions is even more profound. These guardians of the glaciers stand as a powerful reminder that human life, however resilient, is ultimately intertwined with the health of the planet. Their tireless efforts to protect their pristine environment represent not just a local struggle, but a universal call to safeguard the delicate balance of Earth's climate, ensuring that the cold virtues of Oymyakon continue to whisper across the generations. Across 20 chapters, we have journeyed into the heart of Oymyakon, exploring the extraordinary adaptations that allow human life to persist in a place where the very air can solidify. Our final reflections center on the enduring spirit, the intangible yet undeniable force of human resilience that stands paramount against nature's most formidable fury. The core of Oymyakon's survival story is not simply a collection of clever tricks or hardened bodies. It is a profound testament to the human capacity for learning, adaptation, and community. From the meticulous layering of clothing to the architectural ingenuity of homes on stilts, from the high-caloric diet forged by frost to the tireless efforts of maintaining heat, every aspect of life in this village is a consciously chosen strategy against oblivion. These are not passive struggles, they are active, daily acts of defiance. The average Oymyakon resident expends significantly more energy on basic life maintenance than counterparts in milder climates, yet they do so with a quiet determination that speaks volumes about their endurance. Beyond the physical, the mental and social fortitude demonstrated by the Oymyakon community is equally striking. The long, dark polar nights, the prolonged isolation, and the constant threat of frostbite or mechanical failure could easily lead to despair. Instead, the community thrives on strong social bonds, mutual aid, and rich oral traditions that preserve history, impart wisdom, and create a shared sense of identity and purpose. The resilience witnessed here is a collective phenomenon, strengthened by generations of shared experience and an unwavering commitment to one another. The willingness to share resources, knowledge, and even simple conversation forms an invisible but impenetrable shield against the psychological strain of extreme living. Oymyakon is not a place where humans merely scrape by. It is a place where they have carved out a vibrant existence, demonstrating an awe-inspiring ability to not only tolerate, but to truly inhabit and understand one of Earth's most challenging environments. This enduring spirit is the ultimate lesson from the pole of cold, that human ingenuity, bolstered by deep cultural roots and an indomitable will, can overcome even the most brutal of nature's furies, transforming barren cold into a profound testament to life itself. As our journey through the extraordinary world of Oymyakon concludes, it becomes clear that this remote village is more than just a dot on a map or a record in a meteorological almanac. It is a profound demonstration of human capability, an epic narrative of adaptation against the most formidable natural adversary. Leaving the limits of this place, the unforgettable imprint of Oymyakon remains, echoing lessons far beyond its frozen confines. The story of Oymyakon compels us to reconsider our own perceived limitations. In a world increasingly conditioned by comfort and convenience, observing a community that thrives under such harsh conditions forces a re-evaluation of what is truly essential for human well-being. It underscores the incredible human capacity for physiological, technological, and cultural adaptation, a testament to our species' innate drive to survive and flourish against all odds. The meticulous planning, the deep practical knowledge, the unwavering community spirit, all are skills and virtues that resonate with universal relevance. Furthermore, Oymyakon stands as a poignant symbol of humanity's interconnectedness with its environment. The villagers are not merely inhabitants of the cold. They are an integral part of its ecosystem, their lives intricately woven into its rhythms and demands. Their story serves as a powerful reminder of traditional ecological knowledge and the wisdom gained from generations of direct interaction with nature. In an era of rapid environmental change, their long-term survival offers valuable insights into sustainable living and profound respect for the natural world. Their current challenges, driven by global warming, also serve as a stark warning. Even the most resilient communities in the most extreme environments are vulnerable to broader planetary shifts. Ultimately, Oymyakon leaves an unforgettable imprint as a living laboratory for human resilience. It is a place where every dawn is a victory, every warmed home a fortress, and every shared meal a celebration of life. Its existence challenges our assumptions, broadens our understanding of human potential, and inspires awe for the enduring spirit of those who call the coldest village on earth their home. The lessons from Oymyakon are etched not just in ice, but in the indelible record of human courage, ingenuity, and community, serving as a beacon of what is possible when humanity truly meets nature's fury with an unyielding will to live.